Here is my special edition of Word in the Shop, my special holiday edition anyway. So yeah, let's get started then. I'm really running out of ways to introduce my Word in the Shops. But yeah, here's the number 3, of course. Again, unchanged since the last word. However, that is going to change soon because I will be taking the locomotive apart for her 182-day inspection, as I sometimes call it, to clean the engine. You know, even though I haven't operated her a whole lot in the last 6 months since I cleaned her last, you know, it doesn't matter. It's on a schedule. You know, I'm trying to go by my own rules and you know, keep the engine clean. So I'll have a word in the shop documenting that, even though I've done one before when I cleaned the engine. I might be cleaning the number 32 as well, which I'll show you in a minute, because that engine gets pretty dirty, and because the locomotive portion does have contacts on it, unlike the 3, you know, it's crucial to clean it, otherwise it won't run. So yeah, let's look at the car behind the 3. Oh, look at that, it's been painted, and it's mostly done now. Well, not mostly done. There's still a lot of stuff I need to do to it, but the car, you know, as you can see, it's on rails, so it's ready to go pretty much. And I put its first coats of paint on, although I'm going to be airbrushing a second coat on. This was brush painted. Not bad for being brush painted, but I gotta airbrush it just in case, you know. And you can see a little discoloration right here on the end. That little lighter green spot doesn't blend in very well. Anyway, so yeah, here's Sierra Railway Baggage Mail and Express car number 8 that I've been working on. It turned out very, very well. Considering I completely scratch built this isn't a laser cut car at all. All the scribed wood I cut and pieced together, piece by piece by piece. So what's left is to complete the flooring, add the truss rods and the underframe, close up the clear story. You can see there's a lot of empty space in there. Add the doors and the window frames, and after that it's pretty much complete. It's not as there's not as much to deal with on this car as a regular passenger car. You know, you put the passenger seats and the interior and all the little sitting people. I don't know what the interior of this car looks like, and because it's a baggage car, I'm not really going to bother. But yeah, it'll be at Black Diamond Lines on New Year's, so anybody who is familiar with that club in Antioch and wants to see it, come on down. Although I know it's New Year's Eve, you know, it's a New Year's party, you know, so I'm not sure everybody wants to take that special time and go into a model railroad joint. But anyway, so yeah, that's the first part. That's the first car making up my Sierra Railway passenger train. Now I gotta work on coach number 3. I'm just going to show you what this stack of wood is. As you can probably notice, these are ties. These are ties that I've hand painted, and it took forever. And this is the ties that I've cut, but I haven't painted yet. And where do these ties go, you might ask? Well, they don't go here. I'm building these for the Atlas Junction module, which I'll show you my progress in a minute. But after that's done, I'm going to be making new ties to put down on standard, because there's quite a few missing, as you can see. And I need to get that done in order to finish the scenery completely. I can't really start any ballasting or put any dirt around the track until all the ties are in place, so it's a setback that I need to overcome. And that's the color paint that I use to paint the ties. You can't really see it, but it's roof brown polyscale paint. Polyscale is all but extinct now that they're discontinuing the line. I got this car in the mail the other day. I went on a Christmas buying spree where I bought myself a few presents since I'm not really going to get anything this year. You know, when you turn 18, the Christmas present stuff kind of stops. You know. So yeah, anyway, I got this Ertl Collectibles car, and the only problem I have with these cars, I don't know how accurately detailed they are. They look pretty good to me other than the trucks, but the biggest problem I have with these cars, they come already weathered, and the weathering is god-awful. It's so basic. And I wouldn't even call it weathering, I would just call it, you know, paint discoloration or whatever. Cars do not get that dirty, you know, with the rest of the body looking that clean though. So anyway, I'm going to be repainting the underframe black on this car. I think I'm going to replace the trucks. I already know the wheels and couplers need to be changed, so. And I really just hate the trucks. They're poorly detailed, so I'm going to get rid of them. But other than that, I really like these Ertl Collectibles cars. It's not the only one I have. I actually bought 2 of these cars. The other one I'm going to be getting is New York Central. This one's Chicago Northwestern. And I have another one here somewhere that's Delaware, Lackawanna, and Western that I've already repainted the underframe for. Unfortunately, it took me forever to brush paint it, so this time when I paint these cars, I'm going to be airbrushing them. Another car, I'm not sure if I've shown this in a Word in the Shop yet. I know some people who check the Facebook don't watch the Word in the Shops, and some people who check the Word in the Shops don't look at the Facebook. But anyway, for either party, this is my kit-bashed Santa Fe FTG class flat car, built in 1905/1906. These were some of the first all-steel cars, other than the decking, that Santa Fe ordered. For one of the first all-steel cars built in the U.S. for American railroads. Anyway, I have a picture of one on the Sierra in Sonora, actually. So I decided to go and check out the number, because you could actually see the number on the car in the photo, and discovered it was an FTG class flat car. So I decided to figure out how to get one, and I looked up an article that actually showed you how you could kit bash one from an Athearn 50-foot car. You cut a section out of it and you splice it back together, and you make a 40-foot FTG class flat car. And yeah, this is what I came out with. I took it a little bit further, the kit bashing article, and I cut all of the plastic decking out because I hate plastic decking. And I stained some wood and put the wood on the car, and I think it looks really good. I also replaced the trucks. They are Tahoe Model Works arch bar trucks, and they look really good. They really complete the car. It's not finished yet, but it's looking really good. I have a little bit of a few decals to put on, and some rivets to replace. You can see right there where there's missing rivets, that's where the splice is. You can't really see the splice all that well, fortunately, but you can notice the rivets are missing, so I'm gonna fix that. And yeah, I'm really proud of that car. That took me literally 2 or 3 days to finish. It was a very easy kit bash. And Combine number 5, my Blackjacks and other cars. These are all my prototypical cars. Okay, so here's my model of Sierra number 2. Well, my freelance model of a Sierra engine. I just put Sierra on the engine. Well, I dubbed it a Sierra locomotive because I wanted it as a backup to number 3. She used to have, you know, about 2 or 3 years ago when the engine, you know, was a Mantua based model, she didn't pull very well, and it wasn't a good model overall, so I bought this little 060, not this one, but the previous one before this, as a backup because it happened to run the same speed as the 3, so I paired the 2 engines together and had a lot of fun double heading and whatnot. But anyway, now I decided to use this for Sierra number 30 project, so I'm going to be taking the cab and all of the body off, and I'll be using the frame, drivers, and running gear and whatnot as a base for the number 30. And yeah, the decision came, you know, obviously I have a little bit of, what's the word, attachment to this engine, because I've spent a few years with it and I put effort into changing its appearance around and making it look a little bit more like a Sierra engine if they had had a tank engine. Anyway, the decision was pretty tough, but it came after I had purchased a brand new Bachmann 060, which I had originally intended to use for the base of Sierra number 30. Well, I changed my mind because I was saying, you know what, there's no way I'm cutting up a perfectly brand new, good engine just to kit bash into another engine. You know, I'm not going to deface the value, so I'm just going to keep this one. And I'm going to take apart my old engine, which I hardly ever use anymore, and make the 30. I will be keeping obviously the actual shell and the boiler and everything, the cylinders and all that, and I'm going to store it away until eventually I come up with the parts to replace the frame and whatnot from this engine. And when I get those, I will rebuild the number 2 and reinstate her in my roster. And yeah, so she's not gone for good. But anyway, yeah, that's a little tidbit to share. Here's Pickering number 12. At this point, you know, it's only another week until the New Year's party at Black Diamond, so I decided to leave this engine out. Well, I haven't decided, but at this point there's just no choice. You know, I can't bring this engine to Black Diamond the way she is. I still got a bit of work to do on the cab, which I pretty much just started building. You know, I've only got a few pieces of it cut. I can't solder it, which is really a huge setback, so I'm going to have to figure out another way to piece it together. Anyway, without the cab, you know, being finished in time, there's no way I can finish the rest of it, you know, in time before, you know, New Year's. So I'm just going to leave it out of the party. I'll get her done in the next month or so, hopefully, and then I'll finally have this engine back in running order. She just won't be ready for the party, that's all. And of course, right here you can see the boiler for the 30. That 30 project hasn't moved very far because, again, I need a Bachmann Spectrum 060 chassis for the base. So once I get the number 2 dismantled, that boiler will start to go on. Alright, let's move over to Atlas Junction module, where all the action's been happening lately. So I've almost completely finished all the ties on this module. All that's left is to finish the main line. You can see there's just one little stretch of ties that I have to put there. I stopped putting ties on there because I didn't want to cut up, you know, full length ties. So I'm just going to make some custom ones for that end. Anyway, all of the ties on the branch line, you know, the branch line track for Atlas branch on this module, that's all finished pretty much. And I started doing the main line ties, and that took me a few hours to do. And I know a bunch of people are going to say, why don't you just stain your ties? Well, because I'm not very familiar with staining. When I stained the trestle, the Atlas branch line trestle, a friend of mine made that stain up. And I, you know, just used that. But I don't have anything for ties. My friend doesn't know a particular stain for ties either. So I decided to paint them by hand. Anyway, I have a little bit left over here. I'll probably have that done today. And past the switch, we're doing the mainline ties over here, and that'll probably take me probably 4 more days of work painting ties. But once all the ties are done on this module, this will probably be the first module I've completed scenery on, because once the ties are all done, then I'm going to put the paper bag base down, get some dirt from the actual site of you know, the Atlas branch junction, and I'll be putting the dirt down. I'll be doing the road, and there's really nothing else here, just a switch stand, and track. That's really all there is here. I'll probably put a couple of cars down, but that's that's only a little bit of icing on the cake when it comes to scenery. So, but anyway, yeah. So Atlas Junction, be prepared to see that finally finished. Here's my caboose number 4. You know, the laser car, the car that I made on the laser machine. And I bought this. It's an Intermountain Southern Pacific boxcar. It's a USRA boxcar. Bought this for $45 off of eBay, and I think the price is probably worth it. If you look at other Intermountain cars of this kind, you know, it's an assembled Tichy kit that Intermountain put under their name. If you look at other cars that are assembled and painted by the factory, you know, they only cost about $25. But since I have not seen any pictures of any other Intermountain, you know, assembled and painted SP cars, I would say that this car is probably pretty rare now, as they don't even sell it anymore. You know, if you want an SP car, you got to get the Tichy kit and assemble it and put it in SP. But anyway, I didn't have to do anything to this car, and I'm really glad to have another Southern Pacific car on my roster, because SP and Santa Fe were two of the majority. There were the Southern Pacific and Santa Fe, you know, had the two majority of, they were the two largest majority of interchange cars. And here's another Ertl Collectibles car with the underframe painted. And Sierra number 32. Sorry, you can't really see it with the light. Really nothing's been done to this engine since the last word in the shop. I've just been playing around with it. It does run a little bit smoother though, so I've been able to boost its top speed, its top prototypical speed, you know, a few miles an hour or so. So it runs smoother at a faster speed. Man, I really can't talk today. But yeah, it runs smoother faster now, so that's good. And yeah, she'll be running on the main line at Black Diamond Lines. So yeah, I guess that's about it for this month's Word in the Shop, or this special edition of Word in the Shop. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, guys, and I will see you in a couple weeks.